So you just got back from a duck hunt.
Yeah.
Did you kill anything?
We did. So we did 4 days this year.
Where at?
So we were in Arkansas.
Or is it top secret? You can't tell anybody.
We actually go through an outfitter. So we are just south of Jonesboro in a town called Weiner, Arkansas.
Weiner, Arkansas.
Weiner, Arkansas, right? On the Cache River.
How big a boy is it? You don't have to answer that question.
Let's put it this way. If that was your wiener, you wouldn't be proud.
If you've ever been to Weiner, Arkansas, drop it in the comments.
Yeah, drop it in the comments.
I just got to check it out.
You drive. Hey, if you blink, you miss it. Let's just
welcome to Schlong, Alabama.
Yeah,
we have.
I think the locals call it Weiner because it's German.
Weiner. We're not going to call it Weiner. There's too many things that can go wrong there.
So this is third year. This started out with just my dad and my brother. And then we added my father-in-law and one of my brother's friends got involved this year. So we did 4 days. If you were following the weather in the south of those 4 days,
frozen.
It was a treacherous trip.
Yeah.
So this thing is planned a year out. We had to drive through Mississippi to get there. And let me just tell you this. Mississippi does not know how to deal with snow and ice on the roads.
And Alabama does.
Alabama was better.
Really?
Alabama was better. Like, as soon as we hit the Mississippi border, my dad's 65, and he's driving. My life flashed before my eyes multiple times. A 4-hour trip took us 8, because we're doing about 35.
Skidding all over the road?
Well, we were passing some stuff, and so I could have reached out. We got a little loose on the back end a few times next to some vehicles and next to an 18-wheeler. And
how much of that was like your dad, like, I'm out of the house, I got to sow some old oats, let me put it in the back skid, drift a little bit.
I think it was unintentional, right? But it was like, hey, y'all are driving 15. Like, you can drive a little bit faster, but it was...
Just a truck, no camper pulled behind.
No, but there were people we were passing.
Yeah.
There were guys driving 65.
Sliding that thing out in the back.
No, pulling an excavator and running up on our butts while we're passing.
Get out of the way, brother.
And, you're talking about scary. Butthole puckered a little bit on that.
And not to mention the roads in Mississippi. I mean, if you ever driven in the roads in Mississippi, it's pothole city. They haven't repaired them.
Now throw ice on top of it, and they haven't manicured. They haven't salted like it's day one.
Yeah.
So it was rough, but we got there. First 2 days were great. I think we killed like 50, between 5 guys, we killed like 52 ducks in the first 2 days. So a lot of shooting.
Who got the most? Like who took home the trophy?
So there's 5 guys in the blind, and everybody's shooting. It's a group effort. I don't think anybody knows exactly,
How long are you in the duck blind? Like 4 or 5 hours?
6 to noon.
6.
So
okay.
Shooting light's about 6. So you're up. You really drive 30, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. You get in the blind. Everything's set up, so it's a guided service.
So I'm just curious. You got a bunch of just dudes in there. Like when you got to fart, you just fart in the duck blind.
Duck blind's fun, so it's very different. So I grew up deer hunting.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I didn't grow up, but you're one man show.
Yeah. But deer hunting, you got to be quiet. You got to be still, and duck hunting's very different. Like you're talking. I mean, you're shooting the bull. You can have heaters. You're eating. And then, it's nothing like deer hunting. So it's just the fellowship in duck hunting.
It's like a big locker room, man.
It is. It's a big locker room.
Yeah. Right there. Okay. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And this is old dudes, man. That's how we do it.
Ducks come in, you blast them, you sit back down. And you start talking again. Ducks come in, you blast them, you sit back down. So
you got a dog that goes out and runs them. And
so this year, it was so cold, because it was, I think the first 2 days, the high was like 21, 22, and the low was I think we were out there like 8. It was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So they weren't running dogs. So our guide was the dog. So he was out slipping on ice and falling through ice, collecting birds and things like that. So, but he was an awesome guide. He was very, very good.
That's awesome, man. You're gonna have to take me duck hunting one time. I've never been duck hunting, but it's funny story here, right? And you've heard this story before, but the first time, I didn't grow up hunting a lot, right? That's just something that we didn't do. But when I was courting my lovely wife way back in the day, that's how she grew up, man. She grew up on farmland. And, of course, her dad, he just had to get me out hunting. So we went dove hunting, right, which is kind of, intro into getting it in there. And he got me a shotgun. And I think I'd only been once as a kid, and somebody gave me like a 12 gauge. I'd like the backlash like blew my shoulder out. I was like,
yeah.
Everybody laughed at me. So I was like, all right, not very like confident going into this, but it's like, is this a test? Is he testing me for my manliness to like court his daughter and like eventually hand in marriage? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, like you've got to hit what you shoot, right? You got to be accurate, like because that's a test of manliness. Oh, yeah. And then like you gotta win the day. You got to come in with the doves. So, anyways, he's like, all right, here's your vest. Put them in the back. We'll meet them at the end of the day. He's like, but when you shoot them and they go down, you got to twist the neck.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no problem. Didn't know what he meant by that. PETA people are going to get after me, right? You want to make sure they're dead.
Yeah. So, you don't want them suffering.
So had a good day, man. Like just shooting everything that flew, loaded up the vest. We get back at the end of the day on the tailgate, and I started loading all these doves. I'm like, dude is going to think that he's just marry my daughter right now, you manly stud, you. So I start putting all these doves. They don't have any heads.
You were literally thinking
I ripped them off. I'd get a dove, I'd go, and I'd throw it in there. And so my wife was with, my wife at the time, she was with me the whole time, and she was just like, what is going on? Like, I've never seen this technique. Right? So I'm like, get a dove, rip the head off, throw it down. Like, just like open up a bottle cap, just, throw it down on the ground, man. So, we get back at the truck, and everybody's coming in. Mm-hmm. So, like, all his friends and all his coworkers, and here comes, like, his future son-in-law laying in all these decapitated doves on the back of the tailgate. And everybody's looking at me. They're like, and they're looking at my, father-in-law. And he's like, and everybody's like, what in the world have you done? This city boy.
I'm just doing what you did, Charlie.
It's like, what, so how did we get here? Like that, how did we arrive here? So that was one of my first stories hunting, man. And that's legendary. It still makes its way through the hunting camps. Like, you remember when you tore all the doves heads off?